Today I learned that no matter how fast the car is going, you can roll out at the last second and you'll be fine. Hi everyone, my name is Chris and welcome to Tread Talks, where I walk on this treadmill to stay in shape while making videos for you fine people. We're now in the 8th film in the Fast and the Furious series, and as you might expect with something that's lasted so long, the series is very different now than when it first began. In fact, with the 5th film in the series, they made an intentional shift away from the street racing theme to transform the series into an action blockbuster spectacle that simply happened to involve cars and racing. And this change is really a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, yes, it did open up the series to a much broader audience, and the box office results have been amazing. But at the same time, with each film, including The Fate of the Furious, the audience is challenged to accept an increasingly absurd set of circumstances to justify why Dom and his crew are once again saving the world through their expert driving skills. Now, aside from the action spectacle, the reason people probably keep coming back to this series is the likable characters that have a decent chemistry with one another. And that generally continues to be the case here, with The Rock and Jason Statham really being the standouts. In fact, all of their scenes together work so well that you look forward to the next time they come on. And if there was a spin-off that had these two characters as the leads, I'd watch it on day one. On the other hand, Tyrese's character is now more annoying than entertaining, and Clint Eastwood Jr.'s character is basically there to be a punching bag. It's fun to watch, but there's not much else there. And by far the worst character was the villain Cypher, played by Charlize Theron in a surprisingly underwhelming performance. She chose to go with this stoic, kind of coy, and sometimes whispery approach to the character that just came off as boring and, frankly, somewhat lazy. Now, story-wise, it's as entertaining as it is ludicrous, with revelations that are interesting and that move the plot forward, but that stop making sense if you take the time to actually think about it. In fact, that's part of the key to enjoying this movie. You can't stop too long and think, or it starts to fall apart. And to a certain extent, the movie helps you out with that by providing one exciting, well-done action sequence after another. You're consistently entertained. But really, to enjoy this movie, you have to silence the little analytical voice in your head and accept the fact that you're basically watching a multi-million-dollar soap opera. And that brings us to what the movie really has to offer, because in the end, the plot is basically an excuse to put these familiar characters through inventive and exciting action sequences. And in that regard, this film and the franchise as a whole continues to succeed. The combat sequences with Hobbs and Deckard are entertaining without being too outlandish. In fact, I preferred them to some of the larger set pieces. But even at its most outlandish, it never quite feels like you're just being bombarded with computer-generated imagery. And so that really helped me to smile and enjoy the escalating spectacle. Now, I did have a couple of concerns when it came to the action. The first one being the use of hacking. Watching someone hack, especially while they spewed techno-jargon, is almost inherently unexciting. And so watching two hackers hacking against each other isn't much better. And I realize that you have certain characters that you have to utilize even during the final sequences, but you gotta find a way to convey the excitement of the scene in something other than watching someone type furiously on a keyboard. And secondly, the final action sequence was thrilling and fun to watch, but at the same time, some of the antagonists seemed to appear and disappear based on the needs of the scene at the moment. It wasn't very consistent. But in the end, whatever this movie lacks in storytelling realism, it manages to make up for in amazing action sequences and entertaining characters. What I'm worried about, though, is that if we keep going in this direction, we're eventually going to get to the point where Dominic Toretto drives his Chevelle into an asteroid to save the Earth, and it won't just be ludicrous, it'll be sad. But for now, The Fate of the Furious manages to ride that fine line between awesome and absurd without falling off the cliff. And that's why I give The Fate of the Furious 3 out of 5 stars. Okay, so that was The Fate of the Furious, and now you get to decide what movie I review next. First up, we have the comedy shootout film Free Fire, which is basically a shootout movie that takes place entirely in a 1970s Boston warehouse. And second, we have the science fiction horror found footage film Phoenix Forgotten, which is supposedly based on the true events of when lights appeared over Phoenix, Arizona in the 1990s. Either way, let me know in the comments which one you'd like me to review. And in the meantime, if you like this video and you want to keep up with my content, please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers, so please help me get there. Either way, thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.